Okay, indigenous people, historical people, ancient history people, UFO people. Here is the beginning, part one of the story of colonization of Mexico as told by the Nahuatl from their perspective. This is called the Florentine Codex, Book 12, also known as General History of the Things of New Spain. On my YouTube, I have uploaded the audiobook. There's a good voice. I used AI, but it's a great voice on there. But I'm going to read some for myself right now, just so we can talk about some of the interesting parts. In these videos, it could kind of be our little book club. Comment if you want. Make your own video, tag me in it. So I'm talking to all the different peoples because when we get into this, I'll read it. But to me, that sounds like something at play here. Maybe something a little technological. To me, it doesn't necessarily sound like sky phenomenon when it comes to the beginning of this book. So let's get into it. 10 years before the Spaniards came to this land, there appeared in the sky a marvelous and frightful thing. There appeared a flame of fire, very large, very brilliant. It seemed to be stretched across the sky itself. It was wide at the lower part and pointed at the upper part. When the fire burned, the point of it seemed to reach the middle of the sky. It would rise in the east just after midnight and came out with such brilliance that it seemed like day. It lasted until morning, and then it was lost from view. When the sun rose, the flame was in place where the sun stands at midday. This lasted for the space of a year, every night. It began in the year of 12 House. Their years and months and stuff are named different. They're the indigenous original names. And when it appeared at midnight, all people cried out and were terrified. Everyone suspected that it was some sign of great evil. And then the second sign occurred. That was the pinnacle of a temple of Huitzilopochtli, which was called Tlacateca, took fire miraculously and burned. It seemed that the flames of the fire came from within the timbers of the columns. And very quickly, it turned to ash. As it burned, the temple attendants began to cry out, saying, "O Mexicans, come quickly to put out the fire." And this is the original Mexicans. The Spanish are coming, right? "O Mexicans, come quickly to put out the fire with jars of water." And when the water came, they threw it on the fire, but did not go out. Rather, it flamed up all the more, and so it was all reduced to embers. The third sign or omen was that a bolt of lightning fell upon the temple of Exutecuhtli, god of fire, which was roofed with straw. It was called Tanzamoloko. They were astonished by this because it was not raining, only a fine drizzle, the kind of rain during which lightning does not usually strike, nor was there any thunder. Lightning does not usually strike in these conditions, and they did not hear thunder. And when you hear thunder, there is lightning, and vice versa, right? So these are interesting things to think about. So I'm going to read a couple more omens. I don't have that much time in this video since we're TikToking. So, caught fire. No thunderclap. Fourth sign or omen was that in daylight, while the sun was shining, a comet fell. There appeared 3 stars together, running abreast, very bright, bearing long tails. They set out from toward the west and ran toward the east, throwing off sparks as they went. 3 stars together in unison, very bright, with very long tails. They think they're comets, but there's sparks. Sparks are flying out. When the people saw them, they began a great outcry. A tremendous noise sounded throughout the whole region. The fifth sign or omen was that the Lake of Mexico rose up with great waves. It seemed to boil without any wind blowing. The lake which never rises without a strong wind. The waves reached very far and came in among the houses. Some houses fell. Great was the terror of all to see that without any wind the water had grown so violent. The sixth sign or omen was that at night a woman's voice was heard and in the air saying, "Oh my children, now we are lost." And sometimes it said, "Oh my children, where shall I take you?" The seventh sign or omen was that the hunters of the water birds caught an ash-colored bird the size of a crane and then went to show Moctezuma, who was in a hall called the Tilan Kalmeka, or Kalmakak. It was past midday. This bird had in the middle of his head a round mirror, which the sky could be seen, and the stars, especially the fire of drill, the Lejos near the Pleiades. When Moctezuma saw this, he was terrified, and the second time he looked into the mirror that bird bore, a little later, he saw a multitude of people coming, all together, armed and mounted on horses. Then Moctezuma ordered the augurs and diviners to be summoned, and he asked them, "Do you not know what this is that I have seen? For a great many people are coming together." But before the diviners could answer, the bird vanished, and they answered nothing. The eighth sign or omen is that many times monstrous beings appeared in monstrous bodies. They would bring them to Moctezuma, and when he saw them in his chamber, which was called Tilian Kalmekak, they would at once disappear. Monstrous beings appeared, monstrous bodies, and then they would disappear. Okay, so that's all of chapter 1, right? So I just want to talk about this a little because from my perspective, and what people might answer, especially if they were trying to do like an Ancient Aliens type of thing. Like, Ancient Aliens would have taken this story and said something like this. And now I don't think it's like aliens or anything, but I do think there could be some type of technology at play here, some type of deep magic, but most likely similar things to what we're dealing with today, because I've heard stories that, like the shit like the earthquake machine that we have today, that probably ain't new. They probably had stuff like that. And so 10 years before the Spanish even showed up, something appeared in the sky, which by definition is a UFO. It is an unidentified flying object, right? And they say it appears like a flame of fire, very large, and they describe the shape where it was wide, maybe circular at the bottom, maybe teardrop shape. I don't know. They're just saying it was wide at the lower part and pointed at the upper part, right? And hold on, let's say every night for a year. This UFO was there every night for a year. So if it is an intelligent either craft or people are in this craft, or they have sent some type of apparition, well, if it's there for a year, you can only assume that this thing is taking data on the people and on the life, and if it is attached to the coming Spanish arrival and the war in Mexico and the eventual conquest, then you could see that maybe that information that was gathered via UFO helped them in their conquest, And then our second thing is that suddenly, and with no explanation, these people have no idea what happened, from the inside, sacred temples just start burning. The Spanish have not arrived. All they know is the UFO is in the sky, and the sacred temples just start to burn. Lightning falls, and it specifically starts striking other temples. The lightning happens with no rain, no thunder. The fifth omen was that the Lake of Mexico rose up with great waves. There was a giant tsunami happening. What do you mean? Before people came, something else, seemingly the earth itself, attacked Mexico. But it could be explained through advanced technologies that we aren't hyper aware of now and people definitely didn't know about in the past.